We're talking about mindfulness this month. And today is the power of the present tense. And I've picked those words and put them together on purpose. So let's start talking about decisions, because we make a bunch of them. On a daily basis, we can make anywhere from 3,000 to 35,000 decisions in a day, in a 24-hour period. That's how somehow my days are going. We have very, very busy minds, and some of the decision-making is done by intellect, some of the decision-making is done by intuition. Some of it is conscious, some of it lies beneath our level of awareness. What time to set the alarm for, what to wear, what cereal to eat for breakfast, what route to take to work, where to park, elevator or stairs. What task shall we tackle first? Whose phone call gets returned before someone else's? Where to go to lunch? Chicken or fish? Cheesecake or Diet Coke? Right? Rush back, get there on time, or take it easy and get there when I get there. Leave early or stay till the project is completed. Gas up the car now or when I get closer to home. Do you see how busy our minds are? All the time, all the time. And this is going on in our minds all the time. We are constantly running our narrative, aren't we? Those things are just flowing through our minds all the time. We are doing the monologue of our lives in our heads all the time. And it involves decision after decision after decision. Again, we make anywhere from 3,000 to 35,000 decisions in a day. And here's the thing, when we make a decision, we are in effect closing down all the other options, right? When we make that one decision, that multitude, the possibility, the field of infinite potential, it all collapses. In quantum physics, they call that collapsing the wave function, right? You've heard that. It's called collapsing the wave function. All the potential of the situation collapses in on itself when we decide one thing out of this infinite possibilities. What that means is that we have decided on one thing out of the infinite potential, out of all of the decisions that we could make, that this wave function is a mathematical statement relating to the energy of possibility. That mathematical statement relating to the energy of possibility all collapses in on itself when we decide. When we make that decision. So the reason why it does is because we made the one decision, and so all the other decisions just collapse, right? All of the other options, they just simply collapse. Deciding what wills what happens. Does that make sense? Deciding what wills what happens. And Ernest Holmes said this in Questions and Answers on Science of Mind. He said, use your will in making decisions and your feeling and imagination in bringing power to them. Use your will in making the decisions, and then use your power, your feeling, and your imagination to bring power to them. So we can only decide in the present tense. Even if what we decide is not unfolding in present tense, the fact that we have made the decision in the present tense is the power and the energy. We can only decide in the now. Even if what we are deciding is not going to happen, until sometime down the road, still the energy of the decision is in the now. And that's why we say when we affirm, right? When we use affirmations and when we do affirmative prayer, that's why we say we affirm it in the present tense, because the decision has to be in the now. And then we say we act as if, right? Not as if it already happened, but as if it is happening. Do you see the difference? It is happening right here, right now. Be excited. That's the feeling. Remember we said about, Ernest Holmes said the feeling and the imagination brings the power to it. If it is happening now, not as if it's happened or not as if it's going to happen, but the energy is in as if it is happening now, present tense. We affirm it is happening. We get excited because it is happening. Even if we don't see it in the physical world, we can be excited on some level. It is happening. We keep our minds on the end goal. It is happening. And we don't get caught up in the how. We don't get caught up in the how. And we just know that end goal. We know it's happening. Henry Ford said, obstacles are the things we see when we take our eyes off the goal. Obstacles are those things we see when we take our eyes off the goal. You know, it's funny. I was talking to one of our practitioners, this was a while ago, and he said that he had decided to move. He decided to move. And so a place found its way to him. And so people thought it was weird when he said he was moving, and they said, "Oh, great, where are you going?" He said, "I don't know." And they, "Well, wait a minute, you gave your 30-day notice and you don't have a place to move to?" And he said, "Yeah, I decided to move. I decided to move." And so then the universe conspires to support that decision, yes? The power is in the decision. And then, of course, the right place showed up. We have it backwards most of the time. We try to gather evidence, and we try to justify our ideas, and we try to make sure we're making the right decision. So we look for all kinds of, skywriting and things that'll point us in the right direction. What should we do? Should we go? Should we stay? If we should move, if that's the right place, if this is the right place. We don't put any power in the decision making. We put all of our power in the fact finding in order to let us know whether or not we're going to make a decision. So we get it backwards. The fact is, if we make the decision, the universe then moves to support us. So we have to make the decision first. Such is the power of the present tense. We must make the decision. I had that experience years ago when the kids were really little, and we were trying to decide whether we were going to buy a bigger house or we were going to put an addition on the house. Move, addition, move, addition, move, addition. Okay, so I started looking at new homes. I started looking at older homes. I started looking at homes in the area. I started looking at homes out of the area. I didn't find anything that really met the needs of what I was looking for. So then I thought, okay, well, so I'm gonna just put an addition on the house. And so I interviewed contractors. And I interviewed contractors, and I wasn't getting a really good feeling. So then I started looking for more homes, and I'm thinking, well, somewhere along the way, I'm going to find the right thing to do, right? Move or get a contractor, move or put an addition on, move, and a whole lot of nothing happened. I have to tell you, a whole lot of nothing happened until finally one day I went, that's it, I'm done. I am done. We're putting an addition on this house. I've made the decision. That's what we're going to do. And within a week, someone referred a contractor to me. He was a wonderful man. He was just so delightful. And he was also the lowest bid, which surprised the heck out of me. And he started on time and he ended on time under budget. Okay? Talk about a miracle. And this was 98, 99. But it wasn't until the decision was made that the universe unfolds. The universe conspires to support us. The power is in the decision in the now, which is why our affirmations are always in the present. It is happening now. It is happening now. So when we affirm, I am, you are, he is, when we make those affirmations, they are in the present tense. They are powerful and they are purposeful, and please be conscious of the affirmations you are speaking to your life, because they will reflect back to you. Those affirmations we speak about our lives and about our loves and about our situations and about our circumstances will reflect back to us. When we speak to our lives, make sure we are speaking in the affirmative all the time. It is too easy to say, I'm broke. It's too easy to say I don't have the time. It's too easy to say I'm sick and tired of fill in the blank. That was my mother's favorite expression. I am sick and tired of. Think about that. Think about what that affirmation is saying. It is affirming I am sick. It is affirming I am tired. And that energy that is exuding from you is the energy of sick and the energy of tired. And that'll speak volumes in your life as a result, the circumstances that you draw to yourself, the condition that you draw to yourself will be the condition of sick and the condition of tired. Isn't that lovely? You want more of that? No, we don't want more of that. So every time we make those I am statements, be very conscious of what we are affirming. Bless you. What do we want the universe to reflect back to us? That's what your I am statements are saying. This is what I want more of. When we say I am, this is what we want more of. So I said in the beginning that I created this talk title with using those particular words, the power. This is the power. We discussed power. The presence is about the present tense, this moment right now. So let's talk about tense, the word tense, because I chose that one too, as intention. Tension. So all of these words have real specific meaning to us. Power. We are immersed in the power of spirit. There's no place we can go to get outside of that power. We are surrounded by it. We are immersed in it. It is within us. It is the truth of our being. God's power is our power. There's no other power in the world for us to use but God's power. The power of spirit is our power. We have to accept it, we have to take responsibility for it, and we have to use it wisely. Our affirmations speak power in our lives. Our affirmations speak power to our lives. They limit or they expand our sphere of availability, depending on what I am statements we're using. And all of this happens in the present tense. Even if it does not unfold in this physical space and time right here and now, it is unfolding in present tense. Know that in the present moment, everything is happening. The power of the present. So now let's talk about tense. Yeah, tense. I could be meaning present tense, as in the verb's base form, right? I am, you are, he is. And that really is what I mean, the power of the present tense. But also, in addition to the eternal now, which is all we have, I'm talking about the tense meaning the tension in our lives, the thing that causes us to entertain change to begin with, right? We're a very content species. If everything's going well, we don't usually entertain change. It's like when we're sleeping. When you're sleeping, you don't change positions until that one becomes uncomfortable, right? It becomes uncomfortable, and then you shift, and then you go onto your side or your back. You change when discomfort arises. And that's a lot like life. We change when discomfort arises. And we tend not to change when everything's just going hunky-dory. We're just content. When things are rolling along and we're content, we tend not to look for ways to change or to grow. So we should be very, very grateful for our discomfort, for those prickly people, for those annoying obstacles, for those grumpy bosses, for the firings, for the demotions, for the loud neighbors, for all of the irritations in life, because they are catalysts for our growth. Those conflicts in life, they are the things that force us to entertain change. Those are the things that cause us to go within. Somebody pushes our button and we light up. Now, normally, it's not the person in front of us that put the button there. That button's been there forever. Well, a long time, probably from our childhood or years gone by. So the person in front of us that's really, really irritating us and is lighting us up, that's not the challenge. The challenge is, why do you have that button to begin with? And when did you install it? And how long has it been there? It's usually from our past. It's usually from something that happened. And we act out in the present because the person in front of us and touched it, maybe without even knowing, but pushed something in us, and we light up like a Christmas tree, and then we blame them. Oh, it's all your fault. You made me so mad. Oh, nobody makes us mad. Nobody makes us mad. But people will light us up from time to time. I mean, really, honestly. People will really upset us. And sometimes it's going to be me. I'm sorry. I will. I will upset you from time to time. I will disappoint you. I will upset you. That's my job. Well, it's part of my job anyway. They say that's what ministers do. They comfort the afflicted and they afflict the comfortable. That's my job. But here's the thing. When I am your source of discomfort, I invite you to go within and find that button. Find out what that button is all about, where it is, why I pressed it inadvertently. I did, or maybe on purpose, but I'm not going to admit to it. But it is our job to first go within, right? First go within and figure out, wow, why did that light me up so much? Yeah, I know Ruth with the class that she's doing on the weekends about the presence process. It's a lot to do with that. Going within first and finding out, why did that upset me the way it did? We go within first because we're the ones that have the buttons. And then it's our job to find out where it comes from, to untangle it, to dewire it, to uninstall those buttons. Don't leave the community. If I say something and I really upset you, don't leave Vision. This is the safest place to do that kind of work. This is the safe place. This is the place you come to do the work of transformation. So when someone lights you up, this is the perfect and safest place to do that work, to go within and to have that experience. This is the place for your soul to expand. To do that work of growth in a safe environment where people love you unconditionally. Isn't that lovely? Isn't that lovely? Don't run away, because what happens when you run away? You just find another person who's going to do the same thing. You find somebody else that'll push that same exact button. And then you wind up just going on a journey from place to place to place to place, and people just keep pushing that same button over and over again until you finally come to terms with it. Till you finally go within. You know that story about the guy on the deserted island, right? I don't know if I've told that. The deserted island, and he was there for like years and years, and finally a ship comes by to rescue him. And he's got a little hut down by the beach, and it's where he was living. And then there's two little huts next to that hut, and they went, I thought you were here by yourself. And he said, yeah, I am. And they said, okay, so what's with the hut? He said, oh, that's where I live. And they went, and the one next to that? He said, oh, that's my sanctuary. That's my church. That's where I go to pray and meditate. And they went, oh, what a lovely thing. But then there's another hut next to that one. What's that one? He goes, oh, that was my old church. Those people got me angry. This is the safe place to do the work of change, and to do it in a safe environment where people love us unconditionally. So we can do the work on ourselves. We can detangle those buttons. Vision, this Center for Spiritual Living, is bigger than any one of us. It is bigger than any one of us. So I invite you to do the work here. Do that button-pushing, uninstalling work here, where you are surrounded by people who love you unconditionally. Nobody does it to us. Nobody makes us angry. Nobody makes us sad. We do it to ourselves. We're responding to some wound, some old thing, and it's up to us to heal that. It's up to us to heal that. Ernest Holmes said this. He said, when a problem confronts you, take it to the silence of your own consciousness. Take it to the silence of your own consciousness. And then he goes on to say, and instead of thinking of the problem, think of the answer. God doesn't have problems. Therefore, divine mind is the answer to every human problem. Principles don't have problems. Problems are solved by bringing them under the control of the principle. The problem is dissolved when the principle flows through to the correct answer. So that's our invitation, is not to sit there and try to solve the problems, but to go to the place that is problem-free. To align ourselves again with the truth of our own personal power, which is we are spirit and form. You know, that power of the present tense, that is Spirit's power flowing through us and as us in the world. We are that. So we have all the answers. We have all the healing is already happening if we would reveal the truth of ourselves. When we let go of the context of previous hurt, of childhood disappointments, of wounds that were inflicted years and years ago, if we let all that drop, we would see that the truth of us is that we are limitless, powerful beings. We are given great, great gifts. Those irritating people, you should thank them after you do the work. After you do the work, you should thank them, because those are the people and the situations and the events that point the way to our healing. They point the way to our unskilled behavior, or they point the way to our unhealed aspects. They are the ways that we heal by having these confrontations. So we should thank these people. They point the way for us. And if we are doing the work of healing, if we're going within, we're growing all the time, right? We're growing all the time. When we continue to go within and we continue to dismantle these false beliefs and these hot buttons, we are then beginning to do that healing work so that we can be spirit and form, clearly spirit and form. When we've done the inner work, when we've done our healing, when we've allowed our soul to expand so that we can see everybody as God sees them, then we are doing the work for the planet. We're doing the work for the world. You know, when Jesus walked to I don't remember the story altogether, but when he walked over to the man with the withered hand, and he said, extend your hand up to me, and the man did, and the hand and the arm were perfect. Were perfect and whole and complete. And it was because Jesus saw the mental equivalent of the man. He didn't see a withered arm he had to fix. You see what I'm saying? He didn't see something that was wrong with the guy that he had to then fix. What he saw was the brilliant mental equivalent of the person that was without defect. And that's what appears. And that's what appears. So we see the perfection of our lives. We see the truth of our lives. We see that we reveal the wholeness that's been there all along. That we have the power within us to do that. Remember, obstacles. Remember Henry Ford. Obstacles are the things we see when we've taken our eyes off the goal. What we can do is go within and find the source of our pain. Find out where that button is that person pushed. Find out where it came from. When did I install that? Who did I get that from? It was a gift from someone in your past. And they gave it to you and you installed it. And it's been there ever since, and now every time somebody accidentally touches it, we light up. We have the power in the present moment to heal that old wound, to soothe the tension of duality, because really that's what it is. We know we are love, and yet we get angry fast at our brothers and sisters. But we know the truth of us is love, right? We know we are peace. We know we are peace. And then we get all up in our drama. And we're something other than that in the world. We know we are joy. We know the truth of us is joy, but yet we let misery cloud our day. We let our buttons run our days and ruin our days and darken our days, when we can just as easily identify them, untangle them, dewire them, and discard them. And that's what I invite you to do this week. Find out where those buttons are. Find out where you've put a limit on your own sphere of availability. because, oh, no, 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 I'm this, I'm not that. You know, we know ourselves so well. We know what our limitations are, and we affirm them. So I invite you to go in and just stop doing that. Go in and affirm the expansiveness of your life. Go in and affirm, I'm ready to take on something new, to grow beyond my own sphere of availability, my own self-imposed limitations. You know, we are here kind of right in the middle of the Lenten season. You know, we're right smack in the middle of Lent, which is, well, Lent. Let's entertain new thoughts. Yay. That's my definition. Lent. Let's entertain new thoughts. So let's do that. Let's do that. And take on something new. Grasp onto this power, which is you, which is me, which is all of us. We all have that. We're immersed in that power of spirit. That is the truth of us. So let's acknowledge the power that we are and take responsibility for that power. Come on, it's time to be mature, to really, really go deeper into this teaching and take responsibility for it and live it out in the world. You know, if you're busy still blaming your parents for things, or the government, or God forbid, your horoscope, you have fallen into a state of hypnosis. It's not the government's fault, it's not your parents' fault, and God only knows it's not the stars. Those are all stories we tell ourselves to limit our ability to change and to grow. And if you're not growing, you're rotting. Pick one. You know, if you're not growing, you're rotting. So let's do this. Let's grasp onto this power of the present tense and the present tension and allow it to transform our lives. Instead of getting angry, instead of lashing out, instead of being offended. How many people are offended by things on a daily basis lately? Oh my God, I read about it all the time. Everybody's offended by something. And I want you to really entertain the possibility that just because you're offended doesn't mean it's offensive. Just a thought. Think about it. Just think about this thing. First, go within. Find out where that button is. Why are you upset by this? What is it? What is it reminding us of? That's really what the button is. It's to remind us of an old wound that we have not healed. So when we go in and we find peace in the middle of conflict, when we can find love in the middle of dispute, when we can find joy in the middle of sorrow, we've done the work of healing. That's what we're here to do. We are here to transform our lives, to transform ourselves, and then we give permission to those people to transform around us, and then we've transformed our neighborhoods, and then our communities, and then the state, and then the country, and then the world. We do the work within, and then it ripples out. It ripples out, and we get to be the peace of the world. We get to be the peace of the world. That is the power of the present tense. Ernest Holmes said this about our word of power. He said, "My word is a word of power, for I know that it is the word of the great God within me. My word will accomplish and prosper, and shall do good unto all who call upon my name. My word is a tower of strength and cannot be denied. It is complete and perfect here and now. My word is the word of God." So this week, I invite you to really, really grasp the truth of that statement, to understand, to deepen in the principle. Your word is the word of God in your life. Your word is the word of God in your life. Take responsibility for it. Be careful with it. Be conscious of it. Speak your word of truth with power and authority. Because the power of the present tense is your power. It is your power to change your life. Please do. Thank you.